my first impression when I met you was like, okay, so I went to the gym and I was like, who is this new trainer? Oh, she kind of cute and stuff. I was like, okay, she's just gonna tell me to do like some you skip the rope or something. I'm like, I can get a class or whatever. And then I walked in, and the first time I took your class, I was just like, what is she on? Because I'm not so much energy. I was like, whoo, like I remember the burpees was the one that killed me, and the whole like it was a hit class, and I was just like,
but you did so good. You're so strong and amazing. So
yeah, I was like small but mighty. That was my first impression.
oh, I love it.
Yeah, and then afterwards was then when the pain came.
Oh yeah.
It felt like, you know how someone just hijacked your car and then threw you on the side road and then hit you? That's how my body felt. That was me.
You were so cute. Oh, but then you came back again. So
But I
yay.
came back, I was like, but I like my body though, so I'm coming back. So I came back.
Yeah.
No pain, no gain, right?
Yeah, of course. No, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's fantastic. It's better than if you came to the class and you didn't get anything out of it. So I'm happy that you got something out of it, even if it's a little painful.
I got everything out of it. Good, bad, and oof, and ouch. Good, bad, and ouch. That's what I got.
That's so cute. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Okay, so now, they say that you are what you eat. So how do people eat based on their body type? Is there like a
So, in terms of body type, like I'm not very technical. Like I'm not very technical with the body part thing. Like for me, I think that my body runs best on, moderate carbohydrates, protein, and then less fat. So I've tried keto where it was more fat, right? More fat content. That does not work for me. It doesn't work for me at all, right? And then I tried low carb, and that doesn't work for me either because I need the energy, right?
Yeah.
For teaching and for what I do. So for me, a balanced kind of moderate carbohydrate, protein, and I kind of do it based on not that straight. It has to be every day is different on how I feel, right? So I think that's important too. So people get into this mindset that I have to do it this way, right? But I think you have to listen to your body. So no matter what body type you are, I think the most important thing is that you listen to your body and then you try things because some things are going to work and some things aren't, right? Like they'll work for other people, majority of people, but they might not work for you. So I think trial and error is huge. And then once you do find that perfect combination, your body adapts to it. So then you have to switch it up again anyways. So it's more of a dynamic flowing kind of regimen, I think, when it comes to nutrition. And nutrition is so important because it's so true what you said, like what you are, what you eat. It's very true. There's nothing more true than that, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So how do you know what to choose for yourself? Like where do you begin?
So when you begin, okay, so like I said, so I want to start with, a balance kind of, I don't want to eat too much carbohydrates, too much fat, too much protein. So I want to make sure that I do. So, the Canada Food Guide is a great place to kind of start. I know, you know what I mean? It's a great place to start. And then, cause you want to get those fruits and vegetables, you want to get your protein in, right? You want to make sure that you eat protein at every meal if you can, because that's really important. Just because it helps maintain that lean body mass, which you want, right? So a lot of people will skimp on protein because they think it's too high in calories, especially animal protein, right? But don't, you have to have protein with every meal, even if it's, a piece of cheese or a boiled egg or cottage cheese. It doesn't have to be an animal, protein. It could be beans, lentils, that kind of stuff. But have it with every meal, with every meal, every snack, if you can.
How do you know the amounts? Like let's say you want to eat apples. How do you know you're supposed to eat one apple or two apples, or 3?
Okay, so you can get technical where you find out. So you can get technical, like I said, you can look this up on the internet for the formulas and whatnot. But you can find out based exactly on how much you weigh, your height, right? Your activity level, that kind of stuff. You can find out your resting metabolism, what your resting metabolism is and how many calories you need based on that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do that. You should actually maintain that. And then you can kind of base it off of that, right? So if you want to eat, say you want to eat apples, okay, well, I guess you would have to think, if you don't want to get too technical, I guess you would have to think, well, can you eat 2 or 3 or 4 apples, really? So you would probably just start with 1. And then, and like I said, listen to your body, because apples are not so bad. Like, okay, so if you want to eat 5 apples in one day, that's probably fine, right? But if you want to eat 5 chocolate bars in one day, that wouldn't be so good, or 5 cookies, right? So it just depends on what it is as well, I think. So if it's fruits and vegetables, especially vegetables, I think you can eat as much as you want. Fruits, a little bit sweet. So if you want to, say, choose a green apple instead of a red apple, a little bit less sweet. So that's good, right? So you can probably get away with eating 2 or 3 green apples as opposed to, say, 2 or 3 red apples, because a little less sugar content. Right, so you just think about components like that, I guess. Bananas is really high in glycemic, so carbohydrates. So you probably only want to have half or 1 of those a day.
Yeah, ouch, that's nummy.
Right, so it's just kind of depends on the makeup of the food, and then again on that resting metabolism. So a lot of people make the mistake they eat too little, right? Your metabolism goes down, right? So you want to find that perfect kind of spot. So for most people, it's about, well, for me, let's say it's about 1,200 calories I should maintain a day. That's the minimum. I shouldn't go below that, right? And then I just add on to that according to how much activity I do in one day.
Is there like a list of food that you'd be like, okay, don't eat this, or like a guidance of like food to avoid, pretty much?
Absolutely. So I read this once, and it stuck with me all these years. They said when you go grocery shopping, avoid the foods in the inside aisles. Have you heard that one? So grocery shop on the outsides of the store. Like, so you want to go, where the meats are, where the fruits and vegetables are, like, because all the aisles, they have all the packaged foods, and that's what you want to avoid, right? So you want to avoid crackers and chips and cookies. And so I try to avoid that, but you know what? We're only human. So once in a while, that's where your cheat meals come in. And I know you're going to ask me about that. And that's when you kind of, but on a kind of regular basis, you want to avoid as much as you can, and of that packaged kind of food, and eat mostly, eat mostly whole foods, right?
Yeah.
Real foods.
So like, I guess, do you have like sorry, what are you saying?
Oh, I was going to say, I also have that 80-20 rule. So I eat, 80% healthy, and then 20%, right? Okay. So that's another rule I like to kind of follow sometimes. So I eat 80% of the time as healthy as I can, like whole foods.
And how do you like transition to be like disciplined with like your meal choices and stuff like that?
So how do you discipline yourself? Well, that comes from within, I think, right? So you have to make up your mind and say, I'm going to do this. And then a great way of doing that is meal prepping. So then you would meal prep, say, okay, so you want to eat protein with every meal, let's say, right? So you can meal prep your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So you can make some, egg whites or whatever, turkey bacon, right? And you can, and some whatever, and then make meal prep for that. For lunch, you want to have maybe a chicken breast and a salad, meal prep that. So it's ready to go, right? And then for dinner, maybe a piece of salmon, and then again, maybe a salad, a little bit of maybe brown rice, some sort of hydrate, right? Or sweet potatoes. So meal prepping really worked for me when I decided I want to start being a little bit more disciplined with my meals. So I would kind of schedule, like make it ahead of time. So it's there. So it's ready.
And how often do you have your cheat meals?
I try to have it once a week.
Okay.
I try to have it once a week. But that's more okay. So let's say, I'm getting ready for a special event, or I want to lose a couple of pounds or whatever, or I'm going on vacation or whatever, then I'll stick to that one cheat meal a week. That's it. But on normal, regular life, maybe every 2 to 3, 4 days I'll have a cheat meal.
Okay. I guess that's because sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I should have it. Like, I guess how much is too much damage in terms of
Yeah.
meals? Like,
So again, 80/20. I think 80/20 is a huge thing. You can splurge, right? One whole day if you really wanted to. But then you go back to eating healthy again, right? For the rest of the week, let's say. And I think that won't do too much damage, right? It's just
okay.
you get carried away and then it becomes a snowball, right? And then you can't get out of that kind of avalanche, right? So
Yeah.
once you stop yourself, like I probably, if you're going to go bad one day, so you let yourself go for one day, I would try my hardest to catch yourself and then go good again for the next, week or so, right? At least after that. At least that's for me. That's what I do. And trust me, I fall all the time, right? I'll be watching TV. Oh, I want some buttered popcorn, or I want some chips or whatever. And I'll have it. And then I'll just try not to have it again for another week or so, right? So, and then, like I said, it depends. Like you don't want to be, we're human. So you don't want to be strict all the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the time, right? You got to allow your body. Otherwise it starts to crave it, which is just the negative. It becomes the negative part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not really helping yourself. And also when your body's always in that craving, wanting mode, it starts to store more as well,
It
right?
sounds like a volcano. Like when you get it, it just
You erupt. Yeah, right? Right. And another thing I think is great is intermittent fasting. Have you tried that or?
Is that when you skip breakfast? Because sometimes I do that.
Yeah, it's kind of like so there's so many different formats, so many different ways you can do intermittent fasting. My favorite is 12 to 8. So I eat between noon and 8. And then I don't eat before noon. I don't eat after 8, except for like water or whatever, right? Water pretty much. But some people have coffee, in the morning or whatever, right? Bone broth is something else you can have, but I don't have solids outside of that 12 to 8 window. So that's another thing.
How often do you do that? Is that like a routine?
So
Or?
I do that every day. I've been doing that every day for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was really hard at first. It was hard to train my body, especially to get to that noon. Like it was so hard. And again, so that's something that you have to see if your body's okay with that. Because some people need breakfast, right? So some people need it. They don't function without it, right? So then you can, maybe do fasting from 10, you can go eat at 10 and then stop eating at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depends on your day. Depends on what time you go to sleep at. Depends what time you wake up at. Depends on, that kind of stuff. And like I said, you can have liquids. You can have water. I would avoid juices because there's pulp in it and whatnot. But water, tea, coffee, bone broth, that kind of stuff.
Okay. And how often should you like exercise?
Oh, exercise. Because of what I do, I exercise every day because I have classes every day.
Every day, okay.
Yeah. And then I'll do my own kind of workout because when I teach a class, yes, sometimes I do the classes, but it's not the same as me being in the gym and lifting weights. Yeah. So then I lift weights, about 5 times a week as well.
Okay. So is there do you have like a on off kind of should you be working maybe work out 3 times a week and then have an off and then 2 or
yes,
does it matter? Okay.
So I think when you're first starting out, I think, you work out one day, you take a day or 2 off at the very, very beginning, right? You work out one day, take a day or 2 off, work out a day or 2 off. And then when you're a little bit stronger, then you work out one day, take a day off, one day, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then up to about, so like 3 times a week is fantastic, right? But if you want to kind of up it up, like challenge yourself more, 5 times a week is even greater.
Okay.
So, and like I said, some weeks you can only do 3 because that's all that you have time for, or that's all the energy you have. Some weeks, oh my gosh, you feel like you can work out 6 times, right? So it just depends on how you feel.
And since people are indoors, do you suggest training with shoes or without shoes, like for exercise?
Indoors?
Yeah. It doesn't matter the type of exercise.
Depends on the type of exercise. So if you're doing a lot of impact, so if you're doing if you're at home and let's say you're doing an aerobic video, right, on TV, right, you probably want to wear shoes.
Okay.
The impact from your feet. If you're doing more, bar, like I used to teach bar and stuff. If you're doing more bar, bare feet would be perfect, right? Because then you're working the muscles of your feet. Weight training, just because I think for safety reasons, you should probably wear shoes. That, or even those workout socks. I don't even know what you call them. But yeah, if you're doing impact, any kind of impact, then definitely I suggest shoes, even if you're indoors.
Okay. And almost the last question is tips on getting abs.
Tips on getting abs.
Yeah.
And you probably heard this before too. Abs are made in the kitchen. So you can do 1,000 sit-ups a day and it's not going to do anything for you because those muscles are underneath the fat, right? So abs are made in the kitchen. The leaner you eat, the leaner you eat, so, chicken breast, fruits and vegetables, as opposed to a lot of carbohydrates. I think carbohydrates, right? Carbohydrates cover those abs best. So if you want, you have to cut down the carbs. So cut down the rice, the bread, I know it's the hardest thing ever, but abs are 100% made in the kitchen. Trust me. I'm not sure if you know, but I did a fitness competition last year, and I cut down most of my carbs. Like I had to, right? And that's the only time I ever saw really my abs. Before that, it was like, oh, I know I have them. I can feel them, but there's always that layer of fat. And like I said, we're human, right? So, and some people, they just have more muscle. They're just naturally have more muscle. Then that's why you see, more abs on them.
More abs? Okay.
Right. So it just depends on your body type. It depends on how much muscle you build, how much muscle you maintain, how much body fat you maintain, that kind of stuff. It's so complex, but abs are made in the kitchen. Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter how many times you do an ab workouts if you don't eat lean. It doesn't matter. So
you'll have the muscles. You will, and I mean it's great. It makes you strong. It makes your core strong.
Uh-huh.
Right? And you need that. You need a strong core for so many things, like prevent injury and to be strong. So yes, do those ab exercises. Do them. But if you want to see them, then you gotta
see. Okay. So how often should you do like a workout for abs? Like, does it matter how many times or no?
So I whenever I do my weights. So whenever I do when I go to the gym and I lift my weights, that's 5 times a week. I'll always end it with an ab series.
Okay.
Right. I'll always, 5 times a week or so. And then I teach a core class where it's 45 minutes of straight kind of core. But I would suggest every time you work out, just kind of end it with a little bit of abs. You don't need a lot. Like I said, you don't need to spend a crazy amount of time, because every time you lift weight, every time you're doing some sort of exercise and you engage your core, you're working abs right there.
Working abs, okay.
Yeah. So even if you're sitting in your car driving or you're standing in line, whatever, pull those abs in, right? And you're getting so you're getting work in those muscles. So easy to work the abs. But like I said, if you want to see them more, you just have to eat a little leaner.
Okay.
Get the body fat percentage. You have to get that body fat percentage down to a certain amount. Yeah, which is the hardest thing on the planet. Trust me, especially if you love food. I love food. It's the hardest thing ever. But it's about feeling good, about being well, right?
Yeah, because when you have that body, you'll be like, okay. You will feel you feel different.
You feel good. Oh, you feel great because, oh my God, I see this and that. But then inside you're like, oh, I'm dying. I just want to eat this and that. You know what I mean? So you got to find that balance.
The balance. Okay.
Yeah. That balance is so, so important. Yeah. Yeah.
We have a expectation for the group. You know what? Maybe not 1 month, maybe 2 months or 3 months, I'll get there.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. It's a work in progress all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think that 1 month, 2 months. Just think of it as a lifestyle.
Okay.
That's
another.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. Really, it is. I mean, it takes you 21 days to build a habit, they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So get through those 21 days, build that habit, and then make it a habit, make it a lifestyle. I can't, if I don't work out, I don't feel good, right? So I have to it's part of my daily routine, almost daily routine, you know, like I have to get some sort of physical exercise because that makes me feel good. Right. So
Okay.
once you get into that mindset, right, and it just becomes a part of your lifestyle, oh my gosh, then it's not about, oh, I have to do this. And, you know, because
Yeah,
sometimes
it's just
you're
a
like,
part of you.
yeah, because if it feels like a chore or something
Mm,
you have to do, then you won't do
you
it.
don't do it. True.
Right. Yeah. Or you won't stick to it. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. To get more information about what you do, where can people find you?
So I also have an Instagram account. So my handle is just what is my handle? Sweat sweat.therapy.yyc.
Okay.